I don't think there's going to be the political basis to do deep defense cuts in the next 2 years, because to me, if what you need to forge a winning coalition is sort of the cheap hawks like myself, the people who think that there's a national security argument for reducing the defense budget in terms of fostering longer-term economic strength and therefore long-term security. You don't get to that by cutting, let's say, 30 or 40 billion off the annual defense budget and leaving the rest of the federal budget untouched. Even if you also make comparable cuts in the domestic discretionary accounts, the combined savings are about 100 billion a year at most, and the deficit is close to $1 trillion. So you haven't made a meaningful dent in your deficit problem. And you also, unfortunately, may have taken some of the political imperative to address entitlements and tax reform away because people have the impression, well, we've sort of made progress on the deficit, and so maybe we don't have to worry about it quite as much. So when all this comes together, if there is one rule that I think applies to major deficit reduction, there has to be a feeling of shared sacrifice. And the Secretary said that in his speech, and he's willing to try to do his part from where he sits, but the rest of the government is not. The Democratic administration is going to checkmate or stymie Congressman Ryan's interest in health care reform, and neither side's going to touch Social Security. And the Republicans are going to be the primary group not to want to talk about tax reform. And so 60 to 65% of the budget is going to be off limits for the next 2 years. And ultimately, I think that will sink the defense budget debate, too.